NBA 2K is one of my favorite video game franchises of all time, and I've been playing 2K since around NBA 2K11. I haven't been a fan of the newer games in the series though, and I've grown less interested in the game year after year. NBA 2K23 came out on September 8th, 2022, and I've only played the game around 3 to 4 times since it came out. There are plenty of reasons why I decided to stop playing 2K on a regular basis, and I think many people feel the same way as I do in regards to the current state of NBA 2K as a franchise. It also seems that many of the recent 2K games have been extremely similar to each other without making any serious changes. In today's video, we are going over the repeating cycle of NBA 2K, mostly when it comes to MyCareer and Park, and also discussing how the 2K community views the game in the form of 3 stages, as well as how the game itself doesn't change that much from year to year. Let's get straight into it. NBA 2K has been the premier basketball video game for over a decade now, and since NBA Live hasn't been relevant since the 2010s, there is absolutely no competition for 2K, which is one of the main problems for the game as a whole. Now, my personal favorite 2K games are NBA 2K16 and NBA 2K17, mostly because of their simplistic gameplay and how much fun both the MyCareer and MyTeam game modes were. Usually in NBA 2K, I either just play MyCareer or just play MyTeam, but with 2K16 and 2K17, I was constantly playing both of the modes, and the games didn't die out for me in the first couple months. As I said earlier, NBA 2K23 recently came out, and at first, I was super excited to finally play a new basketball game after I took a long break from playing 2K22, but I soon realized I wasn't going to enjoy 2K23. The non-stop microtransactions were just the start, and it basically cost $100 to fully upgrade your My Player from a 60 overall to a 99 overall. Now, this has been the case in many previous 2K games, but it seems much worse in NBA 2K23. The next-gen version of the game brought back the 4 park affiliations from NBA 2K22, and I actually think this is one of the best parts of 2K23. The entire neighborhood in this game looks absolutely beautiful, and I think 2K finally perfected the whole neighborhood concept they started back in 2K18. The most important part of any sports video game is the gameplay though, and I wasn't a fan of the slow, clunky animations this game had to offer. Don't get me wrong, NBA 2K23 is far from the worst game in the series, and some people have actually really enjoyed 2K23, but I just couldn't care less about actually grinding another build to 99 overall and spending money on VC just to get the full experience. One of the most annoying things in this game though is whenever I was trying to play a game of MyCareer, it would always force me to do random cutscenes and objectives that I just did not want to do. Sometimes these quests take around 5 to 10 minutes, which might not seem like that much, but when you're trying to play MyCareer games and grind badges, it can be very frustrating. Even though the neighborhood looks visually appealing, sometimes it's a hassle when trying to do simple things in the game, like buying clothes to your player. I think 2K needs to focus on making the actual gameplay good first, then they can add all their extra stuff later. When NBA 2K23 first came out though, everyone was talking about how much they loved the game and how it was one of the greatest 2K games ever made. This is something I really wanted to go over because this type of thing happens every single year in the 2K community. There are 3 stages in regards to how people view the newest game, with the first one being right after the new game releases and everyone is absolutely obsessed with it. I consider this to be the honeymoon phase of 2K, and it happened a lot during 2K21, 2K22, and also 2K23. I think it happens mainly because everyone is so excited to play the new game, and people don't want to be disappointed with the game they just spent $70 on and another $50 on microtransactions. I think another reason people often overhype 2K games right after they come out is because nobody has upgraded their players or got their badges yet, so it's really easy to blame any gameplay mistakes on your player not being upgraded. Every year in NBA 2K, there is a meta, which basically means that there's one playstyle that is significantly more effective than others, whether that be ISOing your defender or taking pick and rolls. In 2K23, it looks like making 6'9" builds is the easiest way to win games, so everyone's gonna flock to that playstyle, and all the game variety is gonna be ruined. Another reason I think many 2K games are looked way too fondly at early on is because most people take breaks from 2K later in the year, so when a game like 2K23 comes out, they are super excited because they haven't played a basketball game in a decent amount of time. Either way though, the first stage in the repeating cycle of NBA 2K is without a doubt saying that the new game is the best one ever made and talking about how great the game is. This is always a really fun time to be a 2K fan though, because usually the community is very negative, but for a month or two, everybody is really happy with the way the game turned out, and it's a nice break from all the toxic behavior in the 2K community. Moving forward to the second stage in the repeating cycle of NBA 2K, this is where everyone completely hates the game and calls it the worst game ever made. This is unfortunately the longest stage in this cycle, and it can last around 5 to 6 months. Why does this happen though? Why do so many people love the game in the beginning and are all of a sudden saying it's terrible? These questions can be tough to figure out, but I think it can be described as people discovering the unbalanced mechanics of the game, and people also realizing there's no incentive to play. The lack of quality rep rewards over the last couple of years made grinding the game basically useless, and once you've upgraded your player to a 99 overall and got all your badges, there's nothing left to grind for. In the beginning of the year, the incentive to play is just simply, there's a new 2K game out, I'm gonna play it, but as time goes on, that reason isn't valid anymore. The game has also been picked apart and dissected so much in this stage of the 2K cycle, and every YouTuber has posted several videos on how to break the game by spamming the best dribble moves every single time. People often make the same builds as the year goes on, and overall, the game loses a lot of its character and everyone has the same build, the same jump shot, and also the same animations. Now I don't blame 2K for having a slightly unbalanced game, because it's pretty much impossible to make a perfectly balanced game. I also don't blame the 2K community for using all the same builds and jump shots, because when it comes down to it, people are going to do whatever it takes to win games on 2K, and if they're playing by the rules, there's not much you can do. This is also the time when everyone says they aren't going to buy the next 2K game, but almost every single time, those people get the game on launch day. As I said earlier, 2K Sports having no competition in the basketball video game industry lets them publish low quality games year after year with little to no sales decrease. Many people just buy 2K every year because they love basketball, and there's no other options when it comes to basketball video games. I also think the 2K community just loves to hate on the newest game because that's what everyone else is doing. I've certainly been guilty of this in the past, but I try to form my own opinions on the game and not just repeat what the top YouTubers are saying. I'd say the second stage of the 2K cycle goes on until June, and around that time, Stage 3 begins. Stage 3 is basically when everybody in the 2K community starts hyping up the new game, saying it'll be the best game ever made. 2K often overpromises when promoting their game, which further contributes to the problem. Most of the time, people don't even have a reason to overhype the next 2K game though, it's just something that happens every single year. I've been playing 2K for a very long time, and I have to say, this stage is probably the most frustrating part of the cycle, because you know it's gonna end poorly. Most of the time, the popular 2K YouTubers hype up the game more than anyone, mainly because they want all their viewers to buy the game and watch their videos. All the hype around the new 2K game is one of the main reasons 2K can keep on releasing subpar games every year, because a lot of people are going to pre-order 2K or buy the game as soon as it comes out without actually waiting to see how people feel about it. The NBA 2K cycle can apply to a lot of different games, especially different sports video games, and it usually follows the same pattern. Stage 1 is right after the game comes out and everyone is obsessed with the game. Stage 2 comes a few months later when people start to hate on the game and all the broken mechanics are discovered, and Stage 3 is when you stop playing the previous year's game and start talking about how great the next game will be. Now when it comes to NBA 2K23, we are still in Stage 1, but Stage 2 is coming up very soon, and in a few months I guarantee you people are going to be saying that NBA 2K23 is the worst 2K game ever made. As I said earlier, I think 2K23 is a mediocre game, but I just couldn't care less about actually playing it. Maybe I'm just burnt out on 2K, but it seems like the games have been getting significantly less fun in the last couple of years, and I don't exactly know why. I think one of the main reasons I feel this way though is because the game can only be so different each year, and even though 2K has done a good job with the neighborhood design, the gameplay feels stale, and I'm just not interested in spending hundreds of dollars to make a brand new MyPlayer and restart MyTeam all over again. NBA 2K23 is selling just fine though, so I doubt we will see any major changes in the next 2K game. I'm sure I could have broken down the 2K cycle into more than just 3 stages, but I think the 3 I mentioned do a good job of showing what the yearly cycle for NBA 2K looks like. Obviously not everybody in the 2K community thinks the same, and some people's thought processes don't align with the 3 stages I talked about, but for the most part, I think it's pretty accurate. Make sure to drop a comment down below if you are enjoying NBA 2K23 or not, because I just can't get into it personally. I hope you enjoyed this video on the repeating cycle of NBA 2K, and I'll see you all next time.